right. ETB Sports is #1 on Jupiter.
Nick, you know what Tony Kornheiser would do.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
That's why I didn't say it. Welcome to episode 300 of Empty the Bench here on the Empty the Bench Network. Follow us across social media at ETB Sports, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at ETB Sports. Follow the Empty the Bench Network at ETB Network, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at ETB Network. Follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. We are climbing up that subscriber ladder. We are climbing up those watch hour ladders as we approach 2,000 watch hours on the YouTube channel, as the goal is to get to 4,000 watch hours so we can really grow this thing out. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. If you're either watching or if you're hearing us say it now, youtube.com/ETB Network. If you can't watch on the video side, listen to Empty the Bench wherever you get your podcast, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, so on and so forth. We're on so many platforms. So make sure you check us out. Okay. All right. Happy New Year to everybody. Yes.
Happy New Year.
I don't know. Can you say Happy New Year anymore on January 7th? I don't know. Can you do that anymore?
I mean, I think you can, especially I'll say it to people that I'll see coming up next week that I haven't seen since last year. So I think it's appropriate.
Just don't ask Jerry Seinfeld, because apparently after January 5th, you can't say Happy New Year.
Oh, right. That is the running joke, isn't it?
So, well, according to him, after January 5th, you can't say Happy New Year anymore. Apparently it's a sin to say Happy New Year after January 5th. I didn't get the memo on that one. But how was your holiday? First and foremost. There we go.
Oh, my holiday was good. We do some different things, just because some of my main is because some of my grandparents unfortunately are no longer with me. So we do some different things. So this year we stayed at home for Christmas Eve and we went to dinner, and then Christmas Day we opened gifts, and then we went to a family friend's house who's been nice enough to invite us every year for 4 years. It's like an open invitation. Anyone who shows up to their house on Christmas is welcome. So we went over and we had dinner, and we got to meet one of their neighborhood friends, and we got to eat some of the best lasagna I've had in probably a long time. It was really good. So we ate, we watched football, and we relaxed, and we were home by probably like 10 o'clock Eastern or so. So it was pretty fun, and I got some nice gifts. I'll say some much needed clothes, and actually a little gadget that's going to help me whenever if I ever end up doing phone interviews this year, all the way to trace the audio to where the audio will still sound good, even if it's a phone interview. So,
well, that's good. Christmas was good. Had family over. Niece and nephew was over. We had a typical Italian Christmas feast, like normal.
Which consists of what? I'm not used to those.
The only thing we don't have is the 7 fishes, because I just don't understand that tradition when it comes to Christmas whatsoever.
Okay.
I just think it makes the whole dinner stink and smell like the ocean. Like I just, the whole 7 fishes thing, I don't care. But we cook everything. We make breads. We have ham. We do it all. Like, we get everything. And some of it we'll get, some of it we'll cook. We're a Christmas Eve family, so we do everything on Christmas Eve. And then usually we have a traditional Christmas Day dinner with everyone. I got a cool gift this year. I got a Whitey Ford signed picture.
Oh, that's cool.
This year, because I'm a Yankee fanatic, and like someone will be joining us soon will understand that too. But that was pretty much the holiday. How was New Year's? I'll get it all out of the way now.
Oh, New Year's was very chill because I for part of the day was driving back from Nashville because I went to the Music City Bowl. And if you want to know more about that, you'll find out more on the newest edition of into his breakdowns, which is the first episode of 2026. But we spent half the day of New Year's Eve traveling to go home, and then I relaxed. And then I think I had some work to do, and then I think I called you for a portion of it, and I think I went to sleep. So it was pretty chill.
Yeah, again, so much food. Of course, we kind of did the cheat and we got Buffalo Wild Wings for part of the meal.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome. I'm a little jealous.
but and then my dad made a focaccia, homemade focaccia bread with the vegetables and all that stuff. And then like everyone pitched in, and it was great. Of course, everyone pretty much stayed for dinner, and then it was my parents and I for New Year's. But it was nice. It was nice to see 2025 end. It was kind of a tough year, um, with my grandmother passing away and all that stuff. But you know what? It was nice, and my mom had a couple of friends of hers pass away this year, so it was kind of a tough end to 25. But as they say, look forward, right? Look forward, not back. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's going to be a good year. We are officially back for the Empty the Bench Network for the 2026 season. All the shows are coming back. We are the first show out of the gate for everybody. And I said it's a big number. It's episode 300. This show's been on for a long time. Long time. Even before it was a network. It was a show. It was a single show when it started. And I was telling Zan, oh, well, it's a big episode. I think we got to tell part of this story. You ask me all the time, like, for the backstory of it, right?
I do, because you have to remember, I came in August of 2022, and the network had been around for, I think, a year and a half at that point. So I didn't quite know the history of the show until I was actually a part of it. So
just before I I'll say it. Tom Albano will be joining us in a minute. We're gonna kind of do a chronicling of this show a little bit, since it's 300 episodes in. There's a lot of different journeys within this show that have happened, and we'll tell.
Nick, I just wanted to remind you before we get to that part, we're gonna have to ask him about his Christmas and New Year's too.
We will.
Since we did ours.
We will. But there's a lot of journeys. There's a lot of back and forths. There's a lot of, you have to remember, in this industry, it's ups and downs, peaks and valleys. You work through it all, and eventually you find your way back to what works best. But before we get into all that, we have a great show planned. We're going to chronicle this show since we're in episode 300. It's a big NFL Black Monday edition of this show. A lot of firings that have happened in the NFL. We'll get into the CFP. We'll get into priests apparently spreading holy water all over the Steelers end zone, where eventually the Ravens kicker missed a field goal, and now everyone thinks it's because of the holy water. That's what happened, even though I think that's BS, if you ask me. But we're going to get into all that, and we'll talk about the NFL draft, which is certain somebody's probably not happy that their team dropped out of the first overall pick, but it happens. And I looked up an interesting stat, and I'll ask Tom when he gets up into here. 8-30 in the last 2 seasons. You want to know when those 8 wins took place?
I'm actually curious. I have no idea.
Weeks 17 and 18.
Yeah, that's not great.
So I'll leave that one alone for now. But let's bring Tom in, because I've been posturing. All right, here we go.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome back to the show, which you haven't been on in a long time.
I know.
So before we get into the actual show, should we talk about some of the story? We'll do some of it now. We'll do some of it at the end.
Sure.
So
there are banners made, by the way, in case you're looking for them. They're at the bottom.
Yeah, let me grab that here. So the history of ETB, the history of ETB sports. Actually, this probably should be in the reverse order, but it's not. It's not the end of the world. But
yeah, actually, you're right. It should be in the reverse.
It's okay.
Order.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. But so ETB Sports, in case people were wondering, was a show. It was a single show with you, with Tom, myself, and when Nick Federa was here, and we all met in a Hofstra University master's class. I don't. It was all about the Olympics. That's all I remember. I don't remember what the class was called, but
it was a sports history class, basically.
Okay. And I think the professor he worked for NBC or something, and he traveled.
ABC. I think it was ABC.
Oh, was it ABC? Okay.
Because I remember he showed us the wide world of sports where his name is present in the credits.
That's right. But I think he also ended up doing work for the Olympics.
No, you're right. You're right. He did end up working with the Olympics. So you're right. Maybe he was in both places.
So I don't know how we ended up near each other in that class, but the three of us just ended up sitting next to each other in this class. And what ended up happening was we just hit it off for whatever reason. The three of us just hit it off. And that led to eventually us just sitting in class every week. We would be discussing sports. And you have to remember, Zan, this is before like StreamYard. This is before all technology became relevant, right, Tom? Would you say?
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's when we started the failed attempt of the podcast on Google Voice,
Google Hangouts, and you're talking about the Unspoken Podcast.
Well, yeah, okay. So yeah, the original show name was the Unspoken Podcast because again, we didn't know much about naming a show back in the day whatsoever.
Well, it was also because the network actually stems. This is actually I would call this try two for you with the network because we had what was it, the Undetermined or something?
Oh God, don't even remind me of those days. Yes, there was a original network that I was trying to get off the ground called the Undetermined Podcast Network.
But essentially that was basically the first attempt of what would become ETB Network, because even in our earlier days as ETB at the start of this decade, the plan was it wasn't just going to be sports.
Yeah, don't remind me of that either. But yes, it was kind of a mixed bag. There was some pop culture. We did a show called Beyond the Bench, which was all pop culture. Nick and I did that. And I'm not going to mention the other shows because I'm angry at some of those people still. But my point is there was some other stuff we did. And then eventually I said, this is not going to work this way. And that's when we kind of expanded ETB Sports into a network of sports only. And actually, if I remember correctly, Tom, you were the second show, technically, sports-wise. I forgot. It was like a wrestling Combat
Mania.
Oh, Combat Mania. That's right. And I got you that interview with JR.
Good old JR, Jim Ross. Yep.
Still don't know how I did that to this day, but I got lucky.
I still have that voicemail, I think, somewhere.
Yes. Oh, the promo thing. Yes.
Unfortunately, JR is obviously going through his own stuff now.
But so then we were looking for a co-host for
when we wanted to bring it back years later when we had this network getting its legs, and that's where Zan came in.
Well, it's funny, like, so I think Zan already knows this. Technically, he wasn't like the top list.
I had a list of people. Zan was on it, and Zan also was the only one I think who actually said yes of the first couple of people that I asked.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, one of them got in trouble pretty badly recently. If I'm thinking the right person. It starts with a C. Yes. I think that's, or was it K? I can't remember.
No, it's C.
Oh, C. Oh, yeah.
So obviously that one never worked out. And then what was the other person? Oh, Christy King. That was the other name that you had reached out to. That I don't think
Kristen, yeah, I don't know what's happened with her.
she's not doing it anymore. I don't
She's
think.
not on the MMA space, it seems, anymore, which is sad. And
So-
Zan and I have talked about this in private chats, that it's of the old fan-sided late 2010s, early 2020s crew,
I think we're the only two that are still left.
and Drake Riggs.
And Drake Riggs, who's obviously had a very successful career now over at Uncrowned. Yeah.
So we got that all off the ground. Then it led to some other shows. And you have to remember one thing. If you want to start a network and you want to start shows, that it's never perfect. I'm just going to say that. We've had a lot of ups and downs to get where we needed to eventually get, including us two, which...
Yeah.
Believe it or not, and I can say this now that we're talking again, and we're finally back on the right foot to the point where you're actually back in the ownership admin side of our stuff. I think that needed to happen for it to reestablish itself again.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
And what I will say is that one of the people we had originally didn't help it. Because we were kind of in a rock and a hard place situation when we were trying to really grow it out, and someone didn't want to do social media, and that led to a little bit of riff. But you know what? Sometimes they say the negatives make you grow stronger when you work through it all, and we're a much bigger network now. What I will say is the show was never the same when Tom left. No offense, Sam. But I'm just saying.
No, it wasn't the same because, from my perspective, you can tell me if I'm wrong about this. From my perspective, and this is no disrespect to anybody else, but you couldn't find the right co-host to replace him until I said I would do it.
I mean, like, we had somebody else that became nightmarish partially. Then you came in and I said, okay, you and I jive. And then, long story short, well, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this without it sounding nasty, but we had a riff over scheduling issues, and that's where the split kind of happened and all that stuff. You were going through all your teaching stuff, which I understood, by the way, too. Which, by the way, in case people didn't know, you finished your teaching program, which is great.
Yeah, congratulations! You
Thank
finally did it.
Now you can actually breathe a little bit and not have to do
Right.
So that you have to remember when we do shows and we work in this business, like we also have lives. I say this all the time. Zan hears me say this on shows all the time. That you think that like we enjoy what we do in this business, whether it's you guys writing MMA or doing video, or when I worked in the radio business, or when I first started doing podcasts or interviews. We have lives too that we have to take care of outside of this network and these shows and these writing jobs that we do. And sometimes like the stresses can clash against one another. But eventually we found our way back, and now we're in a growth model now where we're really starting to hit the ground running. I mean, it only took 5-6 years, but eventually we got to that point. And again, like, so you guys started doing Outsiders, which was great. And then again, due to that scheduling stuff, that led to eventually the show kind of going a multitude of directions also. But you know what?
Well, I think Jack is doing a phenomenal job. I will say that.
Yes, very much so. And you know what? I'm glad that
In speaking on his behalf, just for a second, Tom, that's a very nice compliment. Thank you for saying that on his behalf.
And by the way, like, I could see Tom doing stuff on an off basis, helping that show out. And there's plenty of other things we have in store for that show and this show. And let's put it this way: this network has grown massively in the last year.
Well, I think it started to grow. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I think it started to grow when it became a little bit more individualized. Like when I came to you with the idea that I wanted to do Bando's breakdowns, you thought it was great because solo shows here weren't really a thing. And well, I came to you and said, "Oh, I think doing my own show would be."
And I think going on what you said, Zed, I think we have a group now where people take their product as their own. So
Yes, that was partially a problem. If you remember, some of the people that were here originally, that they kind of just went off into their own bubble and forgot that this was a network of shows. And I mean, and then some of the other things, like I missed like having the videos on forecast. Like that was something that gave it a little extra twist of things that forecast didn't have. Or and like this show, like when I tried to do it with, well, when Anthony was here, like he didn't get a lot of the like sound effect nonsense that you and I would go through. Or
not everybody does. I feel not everybody does. We have a unique sense of humor. We have it. Zan, I'd say you have it. Johnny has it. Every video I seem to make kills him.
Yes, that's for sure. And I will tell you, on Press Row, we now have a segment called Credentialed Creative Crap. Yeah. Yes. And yes, I'm not making that up. And we play the $25,000 pyramid music. Like, and it's specifically for when one of us goes too far on a tangent of some sort. And so it's part homage to this show because that's where a lot of this started. But this show was great and will continue to be great. It's just it won't be the same dynamic that you and I had when we did this show.
Well, I was going to mention this too. Like, Nick, I was surprised when you said that you wanted me to be the permanent co-host because of like how the show was always structured. But then you pitched it to me. You're like, we speak every day, so if you want to do it, we might as well do it if we talk every day. So
Well,
that's how you presented it to me.
Well, like Tom, like Tom, you fit in all the in the uniqueness of knowing most of sports. That wasn't a lot of people here. Like we have people that do baseball and the NBA and the NFL and college sports, but there's some people that can cover 5-6 sports that can understand what's going on. That's why, like, when we first originally started doing the show, like Tom, like the three of us, like we really jive because we were able to cover all the sports. Sometimes sometimes hockey got a little bit lost in that, but for the most part, like we were able to talk everything, and that's why when I needed a co-host, Zan made the most sense because he could cover the most sports in an expansive way. Anthony was great. Don't get me wrong, but past the NBA, the NFL, and college, he couldn't really do much else. And that's where the show kind of dipped partially. But it is what it is. And the show isn't a better...
I'm just curious because you guys are a part of this history on I guess a bigger scale in terms of the evolution of the show. When did you guys realize, was it before or after I started here that that you guys needed to expand of more to more than just one show? Because I'm curious.
Oh, way before. Actually, I should say way. I would say maybe a year and a half before you came.
No, he's right. It's about a year and a half before. Because
I remember it was around the time that I started teaching, where eventually we got all the different other shows that made their way to the network.
Correct. Yeah. So it was about a year or a year and a half before you made your way in, and he started doing like a little bit of Combat Mania. Then we had Game On. Then we had some other stuff.
Right. We had the lifestyle show.
Well, yeah, that show kind of
So wait,
died.
Tom, I'm just curious. If I never became your co-host for the MMA Outsiders, does the MMA Outsiders ever exist or no?
I kind of want to say no, to be honest with you, because obviously, as I said, Kristen never really responded.
Let's just put it this way:
people never really respond. Never really responded. One person said they couldn't do it; they didn't have the time. I think that actually ended up being Drake who said no.
and
really? Okay.
the other person, I think you kind of lucked out that they said no.
Yeah,
because that could have been a whole worse situation if.
Correct.
So that's all I'm going to say about that.
That's weird how that works. So if I don't do it, the MMA Outsiders doesn't exist.
Well,
and then by definition, Bando's breakdowns never gets invented.
It's a chain reaction. I know.
Well, I think that we would have tried a different way, but I don't know if it would have turned out the same way.
Correct.
So
Interesting though.
So ETB Sports kind of evolutionized everything you see across this network, which has eventually led to other shows like Moving the Goalposts or Hitting for the Cycle, or I'm trying to think what else we still have left, but new stuff too, like our live side with Football Forecast, but Gridiron Gurus and Gridiron Gridlock and all this other stuff.
Shout out Catlin for the premiere of the ETB Lounge the other night.
Yeah, which I think that's going to be great, and hopefully when it's not the school year, you'll be able to be on a few of those.
With Callan on Monday nights, yeah.
That's and also to get people, I guess, excited for the end of the weekend and the beginning of the week, there's always the staple of Zan Zinger Part 2 also.
Well, that's an evolution also, that when we started doing ETB Sports and the weird iterations we went through trying to find a platform that it would stick to, and Tom knows what I'm talking about, is...
what day would you like to talk about next? The Facebook Live days?
Yeah, I was going to say...
Twitch failed experiment.
I was going to say, didn't you guys start on Facebook Live?
Yes, so before I learned the hard way that was never going to work because of all the music issues we ran into. And
geez, okay.
But Nick, that Facebook Live was a classic of the COVID days, though. That was our. Let's put it this way. That was our COVID release.
That was a fun time too. Not for people dying. let me be very clear about that. I think I know how you want to word it. There was a little bit of levity in a time of chaos and madness and depression and being locked up in our homes with nowhere to go. Well, except for me, I wasn't really locked up in my house.
Right. You were the essential worker who had to go to WABC every day.
Somehow, I was an essential worker when we shouldn't have been. But when you have the one person, the train conductor, walking through the train, there's a person on here, and I wanted to smack. I literally wanted to be like smack. Like, really? But
no way.
But yeah, so we started with Facebook Live. It wasn't terrible. We were still learning how to evolutionize everything. Then we tried a failed experiment at Twitch. That didn't work out too well.
I didn't know you guys were on Twitch at one point.
Zan, it lasted a whole 2 months.
Yeah, because the connection and the stuff was terrible. Then
and sadly, I think in that 2-month period was the 2021 NFL draft show.
Yes, which we are going to do a draft show. I'm looking forward to that again this year, and
which we can actually do it in such a way where it makes sense and it'll be beamed out to everywhere that we do stuff on.
Right. And yes, I won't be in Disney like I was last year. Promise. I already looked at the calendar, but yeah. So we tried Facebook Live. That wasn't terrible. We tried Twitch. That was an absolute freaking failure. And what did we do after that? We went back to taping it. And by the way, we have to say we had a lot of great guests when we were doing the show too.
You guys had some really good guests at that era. Yeah, absolutely.
Including some, since we like to talk about Around the Horn, which just went off the air this past year. Let's see, we had Jay Adonde, we had Sarah Spain. Who else did we have?
Mariotti.
Oh, Mariotti. That was one of the,
I mean, we did.
That was one of the greatest interviews I ever got to do, too. He literally just sat there and started like insulting the heck out of ESPN after not being there anymore.
Well, that was the funny part. Nick and I weren't even around. That was a you exclusive with that one.
Yeah, that was me. He literally like just sat and babbled for an hour. It's still up on YouTube. I checked.
Yeah, it is. And Nick, there's a point in that interview where you let him talk for 12 minutes straight without you interjecting a single word. It was like,
Sam, you if you remember from J School days, sometimes that's the best kinds of interviews.
It is.
It is
color.
Trust me, I know my place. If the guest wants to talk, I'm totally fine.
Like, go ahead, buddy.
Just if it makes the interview longer, good. That's fine. But I'm trying to think what else. Oh, during COVID, we had the Buffalo Bisons GM when Toronto was playing in Buffalo.
Correct.
That was an interesting interview, to say the least.
There were playful jabs in there, knowing that we were Yankee fans.
Yes. Oh, and the one I wasn't around for, but the NBC LA interview where Trevor Bauer was being investigated.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
That popped up again.
That one up.
That popped up the other day too.
Really?
In memories.
That's right. You weren't there for that one. That was me and Nick.
I was supposed to be there, and then I had an issue come up where I couldn't stay. So you guys, that was a great interview. You guys like nailed that one to a T. That guy was amazing, by the way, because he was like in and out of the courtroom during Trevor Bauer's court hearings. So he was literally giving us like inside the courtroom information, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember. I promise we'll talk sports in a few minutes. I promise. But I'm trying to remember. I'm going to my page just to see who we've had.
Oh, Michael Duarte was his name.
Yes, that's right. But I'm just trying to find who we've...
during COVID, you had an exclusive sit down with James Lynch, right?
James Lynch, of course.
That was great. That was a really good interview. Let's see if I could find...
That was back when he started this is credit to James. That was back when he was realizing that remote interviews were going to become the future. And that's essentially all he does on his YouTube channel. And he's been very, very highly successful at it.
That's the new thing now.
That was for sure a cool experiment at the time.
So I literally just found the whole list of guests we've had over the years. And I remember... Sig Ricassi, who's still at Sirius, by the way.
Mm-hmm. I forget his real name, but he was the patent squatter who had all the Washington team names.
Oh, yes. I know. That was a great interview, by the way, because that was the Zan. If you remember when the Redskins, the naughty word you can't say anymore, when they were the Washington football team, right? And like they were trying, and this guy literally patent squatted on like every freaking name that Washington
could have done.
And I'm trying to look this up really fast too, because
very interesting. Okay,
I'm trying to see if I can find it. Philip McCauley, or his name is Philip, but he went by Martin McCauley. That was it.
Yes,
that guy was hilarious because he just kept saying, I think he was a lawyer, if I'm not mistaken. And that's how he knew how to make all the patents by himself. But that was fascinating. Who else did we have? Looking through John Shambi was another great interview.
John Shambi, right?
Do you remember? I forgot what it was. It was something about Albert Pujols and Ichiro and what we
because we were talking, because I think Albert Pujols had just hit his 3,000th hit.
Yeah.
And we were talking about his future and what about him eventually going into the Hall of Fame. And Boog made mention of that he doesn't believe in this first ballot, second ballot. Like it
Yes.
should just be you're a Hall of Famer, or you're not.
Correct.
Funny enough, we actually are a couple of weeks away from knowing the this year's MLB Hall of Fame class.
Oof. I guess we'll see. Also, there's another one that stands out to me too. Do you remember the infamous Andy Slater interviews?
The Slater scoops.
Yes. What
I
was
still
that?
see those pop up from time to time.
What was that from? Do you remember?
Well, we had a couple of Slater scoops, I think.
No, but I'm saying, why did we have him on? I don't remember what it was. He was like making national news at one point with his Slater scoops, but that's when he was still doing.
I think it had something to do with the Marlins and ownership at the time.
Weren't they being investigated or something?
Well,
I think
wasn't that in the middle of when Jeter was, or not?
Yes.
Say Jeter, but
yeah, I
the
think it was.
ownership group that Jeter was a part of were doing all these changes.
I think it was also during COVID, if I remember correctly. That
I think it was a little before.
Oh, was it before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We had Bob Nightingale, which is kind of funny now because of all his blatant mistakes that he makes on Twitter.
Arson.
right.
Well, that's I know. John Heyman, which we never got.
John Heyman. Let's see, who else did we have? Oh, Freddie Coleman, who's been on this show probably.
Freddie, oh my God, I miss
like-
Freddie. Freddie was one of the chillest people ever. He was one of my favorite guests on this show.
Zan, we've had him on probably 5 or 6 times on this show, at least. And if Tom, I'll tell one funny story. When I was still working at the radio station, if you know which one I'm talking about, do you remember I was doing an interview while board hopping at the station, and I had to keep muting myself?
I remember a couple of different broadcasts during the Facebook Live days where we would do breaking news streams, and you would be at the radio station.
And I was praying to God that a break did not come up when it was my turn to ask a question, and I'm like, yes, like you see me going like this while it's muted, and I'm like, thank God the break didn't come up
between listening to John Batchelor.
Well, no, Mark Levin at the time.
Or you was Mark Levin, and all the different Balance of Nature ads that you had to listen to.
I was like, ugh. But yeah, that was a fun time. Who else did we have? Oh, Neil Best, who just retired.
Right.
And that one goes more to me than to Tom or Nick, because I had my battles with Neil Best. I don't know. You want to enlighten Zan slightly?
I don't know what your beef with Neil Best is. So please enlighten me. I don't know
what it was at the time, but I remember you taking shots at Neil Best.
It was the Francesa versus Michael K ratings thing.
And then what's funny is I think Neil Best ended up having a beef with Michael K years later.
He did, but we interviewed Neil a couple times, and I beefed with him a couple times because he kept saying that Francesa's like God's gift to sports talk radio, and I'm like, give me a break.
Didn't Michael K call him Neil Worst?
Yes, always. Well,
Neil Worst.
Yes.
No way.
And ironically, that shows you how old this show is, because he literally just retired at the end of 2025. So we had that. I'm trying to think anything else that really stood out. Oh, AJ Perez. How do I forget that?
Of course. Whenever there was a big controversy.
He was very close to you guys, and so was Michael McCarthy, right?
We tried to get McCarthy. We were not able to get him.
Yeah, but we got Perez, and Perez was cool.
He just left FOS, actually.
Really? He left?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Well, he just had a documentary come out on Netflix that he was the director of. I think it was a Brett Favre documentary that just came out not too long ago. But I spoke to him earlier, like very early on in 2025, when the Fox lawsuit happened with Skip Bayless.
Right, you did. Yeah, I remember.
And he literally, I said, am I keeping you too long? He's like, no, I'm good. So literally him and I sat for like 50 minutes discussing the Fox lawsuit, which was a huge thing. He had, first of all, what made him an awesome person was that he knew things that some insiders did not know about the media business at all whatsoever. But
actually, there is somebody else who was also in my favorites.
Yeah.
A certain YouTuber who I enjoy watching.
Yes, Tree.
Urinating Tree, Schlosser.
pretty solid get. I mean,
We had
I
him
love
twice.
Twice.
Actually, let me take that back. I think it was 3 times.
No, I think it
Actually.
was twice.
I could have sworn we had him 3 times. It was at least twice, but he was funny too. Like that guy, like as funny as he is, like, and people thought he was a joke half the time. Like he actually knew what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I just came up on. I just searched for guests to see. Here's one from you and Nick's old show, Cavino and Rich.
Oh, Cavino and Rich, and that's back when my microphone and everything was not working properly, so I literally had to do it without a microphone, and there was echoing left and right. That was a great interview too.
Mm-hmm.
They're now on Fox Sports Radio. They used to be at Sirius. Now they're like all over the place.
You and Nick had Dana Parisi as well.
Yes, she was in radio. Like, what was it? BLI?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, BLI, which is a local station here.
And speaking of LI, and speaking of our old Hofstra days, we had Jamie Stewart, our old Nick and I's old professor.
I forgot about that. You're right. Well, you guys did it, right?
Right, because it was right after he had left News 12.
Oh, right, because he kept saying I can't talk about
Certain things.
I can't talk about leaving News 12, which I thought was ridiculous at the time, but whatever. But that's pretty much.
But as we come to learn the wonderful world of NDAs.
Well, yeah. NBA. Go ask Fox Sports how that's working out for them right now.
Set you up and you swung it. And swung
Yeah,
it and
exactly.
got it.
And then like we've had some others, like Robin Lundberg's been on this show.
I like Robin.
Let's see. Chris Sheeran from the Yes Network.
Sure. And I loved Farron, MLB Network.
I got to talk to Farron alone too. That was during COVID. I remember that for a fact because I was sitting at my computer, literally bored out of my mind because he couldn't leave the house half the time. But yeah, we had a lot of great interviews, and I want to get back to it because I feel like we haven't had many on this show since you've left. And I want to get back to doing more of those. It's just hard to get interviews.
Even before I left, like 23, 24, the interview guests kind of were going down in favor of trying to expand the network. But I think it's time
at least I picked up some of the slack to where I've had
on BD, yeah. Well, I think it's time ETB Sports got into that.
I know. It's just I was on a string of luck. Tom, you could talk about this. I just had
there were strings where we had a number of guests, and then strings where we had dry spells.
No, but you have to tell people and explain this. Like how I just kept getting, like I would just start. You always wondered, like, did I just start like bugging people to death?
Right, and there were a couple of times where we were like, shoot, we got to have 2 guests in the episode.
We did, because I just would bug people, and somehow they would get back and say yes, and I'm like, all right, we'll figure this out. I don't know. Did we ever have a 3-guest episode? I don't think we did.
I don't think so. I don't think we ever got to that point.
But
I don't know how we would have survived that point.
I still think the Sarah Spain interview was one of the best we ever did. And you hear a tweeting bird in the background during the interview, if you remember, because she was doing it, I think, outside.
Yep.
And she kept saying, "Is that bad?" I'm like, "Nah, it's okay. It's okay." But all right, that's pretty much the show. We spent way too much time on that. We're actually going to try and get back to the sports now, which we should. So let's get into the actual show and see where we can get. But yeah, that's the history of ETB Sports, and that's kind of the evolution of this network.
So I'm just curious. So what part of this did you leave out specifically that you were going to save till the end? Because now I'm as kind of an outsider / insider. Now I'm a little bit intrigued.
An MMA outsider insider.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how things were originally. Like, just we were trying hard, sometimes a little too hard. I think just trying to focus on content and not building. Now we're the opposite way. We're trying to build it and do it properly and get people in the door and evolve to do their own social media. Because at one point, Tom and I were running almost every show here, like social media wise. Now we have people
I think you and I still do a number of shows around here.
Yes, but it's done a different way
Yeah.
now, which is more efficient. But yeah, at one point, well, the one thing I still don't like, I'm editing every show from the video side. Still, that hasn't changed. But things have just gotten better. Some people are gone, which we had to get rid of. And that allowed us to kind of find the right people and like bringing in people like Callan from the West Coast. We didn't have a West Coast presence for a long time.
No, you
Nope.
guys didn't.
We were exclusively East Coast until you came along, Zan, for the Central time zone.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Was I the first Central iteration?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Now we're in Montana and Illinois and California, San Diego specifically,
New York, New
Jersey.
England,
New Jersey, Connecticut. So, but at least now we have some West Coast presence flowing through here. That's why we're able to do a late night show, because Callan's out of the West Coast and 3 hours behind. So that makes that easier. Okay. I could spend the whole another hour talking about this. We can do an evolution. Maybe that's something we could do. Maybe Tom and I could sit and actually do a full look back at the network as a whole and talk about it and where it's kind of evolved. But we've spent 45 minutes and we haven't talked any sports yet. So let's talk sports. So obviously it is NFL Black Monday fallout. Of course, we didn't expect it to happen before most of Monday. I don't know. Where do you want to start? Because we've had, let's see, 1, 2, 3 coaching firings already.
Three coaching firings, a complete overhaul in one organization, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Speaking of Christmas and the holidays, which we just came off of.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll start with Stefanski being fired by the Browns. I mean, are we really that surprised? People are saying, "Oh, well, you won Coach of the Year twice." Well, you can win Coach of the Year twice if you have no championship to show for it. Who cares?
Well, the Browns have gone in a direction that has completely opposed those 2 Coach of the Year trophies. At the same time, he is now going to be the top coaching candidate, probably on a lot of different lists. I think he will probably get a job within the week, or if not this week, next week, he will get some sort of employment.
Maybe.
By the way, this is a little bit of a developing thing, but are we kind of surprised? A little while ago, while we were talking, he has already talked to some media. I have to search and see which media specifically, that he was very opposed to the contract that Deshaun Watson got.
I mean, most of us were. By the way, it's ironic you brought that up on episode 300 with the amount of what would you call it?
That was a saga in its own freaking right.
Yeah, so Zan, you don't know this, but like when we got into the Deshaun Watson stuff, like
every week there was a Deshaun Watson story in like 2021.
It led to the point where eventually I got blocked by Deshaun Watson on social media.
Oh, you did get blocked.
Yes, because
are you still blocked to this day?
I'm gonna go check right now.
Oh, are you sure it was a legitimate Deshaun Watson account?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Let's look up, because now the way Twitter is, you can see accounts, but it'll just tell you if it's blocked.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, still blocked.
You're still blocked.
And you know what? Deshaun Watson will live up here. Well, I'll live up in Deshaun Watson's head rent-free.
Rent-free in his head, yes.
Because Deshaun Watson couldn't handle the fact that he was a complete idiot with women and thought it was appropriate to do all the shit that he pulled. And somehow the Haslam family said, you know what? Let's give him $300 million fully guaranteed, no consequences. That'll work out great.
And actually, I know Stefanski got fired for a reason, but yeah, that's one strike you can't hold against Stefanski. That's the Haslam family just continues to run this Cleveland team into the ground.
I think so too. And I think one of their biggest mistakes was them letting Baker Mayfield walk to Tampa. That was a mistake.
I think Zan, I think Baker kind of needed that.
Yes, I agree.
saying from an organizational standpoint, it made.
Oh, right. They're
Brown
probably kicking
work.
themselves because
Oh, yeah.
now with Baker, he got to sit behind the GOAT for 1 year. He got to pick his brain, and now look, he led Tampa Bay to several division titles, and unfortunately, they missed this year on the tiebreaker. Carolina getting in on an 8-9.
That division is terrible, but we can talk about that later.
I'm just thinking to myself, go figure. The Vikings and the Lions finished 9-8. They missed the playoffs. The Panthers are 8-9, and they're a division winner.
3 teams finishing 8-9.
Mm-hmm.
But who would have
And
thought?
also, how ironic is it that the Bears finished with a losing record in the NFC North, yet won the division? They were 2-4.
Yeah, this NFL season was bananas.
I mean, you can also say the Falcons completely effed their situation up by losing to the Jets.
Jets. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because if they would have won, they would have made the playoffs, and the Jets would have been what, the number 1 overall pick?
Well,
probably.
If that's the case, we're talking about them. I think we go to. Want to go to them next?
What? Oh, you want to talk about the Raiders, huh? So.
Oh, God.
Well, speaking of that, Pete, we all know who is. Raise your hand if you didn't think Pete Carroll was going to get fired. I mean, come on, nobody. We all knew.
I saw it. Here's the thing: I saw it coming. I think it's unfair to Pete Carroll because what team did you give him?
Well, first of all, the Raiders have been a laughingstock since they left Oakland. I mean,
Yep.
Pete Carroll's what, 70? He's 74 years.
74, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He's old for a head coach. I don't know.
He could have rode off into the sunset after he was done in Seattle, but he chose not to, and that to me was a major mistake.
Well, he was retired.
Well, remember, he was forced into retirement.
Oh, yeah, right. That's right. I forgot about that. But he could have walked away as soon as he won the Super Bowl title if he really wanted to. I think he was just desperate. Him and his exercise running up and down the stadium steps. If you remember, he does that too.
Well, Russell Wilson.
Right. But I don't know. Pete Carroll, you're right, Tom. Pete Carroll had no chance in Vegas because
he didn't have a chance in Vegas because he simply didn't have a quarterback.
Well,
quarterback. He has no team.
I mean,
I know.
And now Max Crosby wants out.
Well, no, it's not that he wanted to stay. Now the team is finally saying, "Look, let's send you to a team probably that you'll do better in. We'll get something back for you." He's like a huge staple in the community.
Oh, he's gigantic. I mean, quite frankly, he is the biggest star the Raiders have.
Absolutely. And you say that they can get something. I don't know. The way that the situation has played out in Vegas, I think they kind of have the understanding. Teams have the understanding of how bad that situation went. The Las Vegas may not have leverage in that kind of situation.
I mean, I know they have Brady in the ownership now.
Could you imagine how huge it would be if Max Crosby somehow on a max contract went to the Patriots? How huge that would be! That would be unbelievable.
As far as the Raiders go, it's like what you said before the show, Nick. I think I agree with that. That Brady and ownership basically want to pick their guys, and this was actually something I wanted to say, but obviously we don't talk about it much on the football forecast because we don't want to go on tangents. I wasn't too upset with the Giant win over the Raiders because we all know what the Raiders are going to do with this first overall pick. We all know. What?
Blow it?
Well, no. I mean, who they're going to pick.
They're going to pick Mendoza.
Right. They're going to pick Mendoza.
As long as it's not Podview.
Dude, actually, since you say blow, could you imagine these guys suddenly we get a report that the Raiders don't want Mendoza?
I just don't see that happening. Mendoza is the top of the crop.
Right.
Pavia's been, ironically, he is friends with Johnny Manziel, is turning into the next Johnny Manziel.
And then you have more where you have all these mixed reports on if he wants to even enter the NFL draft.
And then you have stupidity, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, let's get to that later.
I'm just saying, apparently no one wants to be drafted by the Jets, apparently. But I don't know. This is not a surprise. If you're asking me whether I thought this was a surprise that Pete Carroll got fired, he was going to get fired. Now, I wish they would fire a certain coach in New York, but apparently they're not going to do that. So I'll hold my comments on that. But Speaking of another coach getting fired, Cardinals fired Jonathan Gannon. Are we this surprised? No.
No,
Didn't
No.
they? What was the losing streak they were on? Like
They
to
lost
end?
12 in a row, I think, or 11 in a row, something like that.
I thought it was like 14 in a row. I was reading at one point.
something like that. I mean, Arizona is now basically going to go through their own rebuild because Gannon's done. The Kyler Murray experiment in Arizona is over.
That's an expensive failure too.
Mm-hmm. So Arizona, and I'll talk about it when I bring up my team when we talk about the draft order. This is talk about another team who's going to obviously be going for one of these quarterbacks in the draft.
Yeah, no, I know. Cardinals are a dumpster, and they're going to have to pay a lot of dead money, cap money, to Kyler Murray to go away. Their running back situation's a mess. Trey McBride is probably their best player at tight end. I mean, 15. So Gannon finished 15-36 in Arizona.
And to think, it was a couple of seasons ago where the Cardinals were actually one of the better teams in the NFC.
Everyone kept saying, "Oh, Jonathan Gannon's going to be the next up-and-coming star head coach." Really? It didn't really work out too well, did it?
Nope.
Yeah, so it was a 9-game losing streak to close 2025. 9-game losing streak. What is left to reconcile for the Cardinals? Is there anything?
No, they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna be in a rebuild period at this point. I mean, they obviously were, but now remember last year the Cardinals were one of the surprise teams in the NFL. Somebody on Football Forecast had said that the Cardinals were their pick for the West, and we all looked at him and exactly like, what? You actually said, and they actually ended up, I think, even making the playoffs or coming close to the playoffs. And now this year, everything has gone so wrong. Like I said, all the pieces now they're going to have to fix. It's a mess. It's a mess.
All those teams out West are a mess. Well, speaking of mess, I guess we'll continue down this road. Will the Dolphins hire a new GM?
I have to say, this might be... I want to be careful with my words because obviously it's Miami. And it's a great place that you would want to be. And they have some talent there. But the problem is it's a mess of a situation in its own right. McDaniel's going to be the coach. And I guarantee you McDaniel is going to end up having some say as to who the general manager is, which doesn't always go well when you have the head coach selecting the general manager.
That was Ballard, right? That got Ballard was the one that got fired.
Yes,
he was a joke as their GM.
Well, now you have a situation because talk about another team who needs a quarterback because they picked McDaniel over Tua, and now Tua is going to be gone. Whether he gets another starter job or not is to be seen at this point. But I mean, what are you going to do? What other quarterbacks can you go after? And you know what? Let me bring up, just in case we need to talk about it now or later, what free agent quarterbacks are going to be out there.
Well, can we talk about the dead cap money? Because they keep saying, like, all the idiots who think that they're capologists out there are saying, oh, just cut Tua. Do you realize what the dead cap money is? Like close to $100 million if you cut him in dead cap?
Right.
So that's a massive issue. Also, all the concussions. Do you want to keep dealing with that? I mean,
but here's your problem at this point. Here are your free agent quarterbacks, and this is why I want to talk about it even later when we talk about the draft order. Here are your free agent quarterbacks: Daniel Jones, who has the injury, a comeback season but has the injury. Aaron Rodgers, who may not play after this season. Russell Wilson, Marcus Mariota, Zach Wilson, Tyrod Taylor, Joe Flacco, who's probably going to retire, Kenny Pickett, Jimmy G, Trubisky, Case Keenum, Trey Lance, Carson Wentz, Josh Johnson. You have no legitimate starters.
Josh Johnson
in this free agent class.
It's been really bad. It's really bad. I don't know what the Dolphins are going to do. And of course, you have McCarthy going around
Mhm.
and saying, "Oh, I guess I'm still the coach unless someone tells me otherwise."
Right,
Oh,
and I don't know if he's going to be the
oh,
coach for long.
you mean McDaniel?
I mean, McDaniels.
McDaniel.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's the thing. He may not last past next season because you look at that free agency class and then you think about where the Dolphins are in the draft order. There are quarterback needy teams that are going to be ahead of them unless the Dolphins are willing to pay a price that might include future first rounders and maybe Jaden Waddle in order to get one of these quarterbacks coming in the top 10.
So I just saw a report that Tua is open to a fresh start. Supposedly he was talking to the media. You better find a team that's willing to take that dead cap hit if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening at all. Who's taking on $100 million? First of all, you were stupid enough to give him that contract, paying him $50+ million a year. Well, that's kind of the going rate now for a quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I don't know, man. The Dolphins are a joke. And that whole division, except for what? The Bills and the Patriots, everybody else is kind of a joke or a dumpster in that division. But I don't know. We'll see. And then more recent news. I'm going to botch his last name. Greg Beadless? Is that how you say his name? Oh, Beatles. Greg Beadles hired as new Falcons CEO after Raheem Morris firing. The Falcons are a mess.
Yeah, Arthur Blank has had little patience. He wants his team back into this way. But then again, it goes to what you said earlier, Nick. They don't lose that game to the Jets. They probably win the tiebreaker in this division, and they're the ones in the playoffs.
Well, they're up by a game, regardless.
Right.
So there's no tiebreakers. But yeah.
So I don't blame the Blank family for being a little pissed off and wanting to clean house. Especially, and I've said this before on Football Forecast, look at the offense you have around you. You have even with Penix going down and dealing with Kirk Cousins. You had Kyle Pitts finally having a breakout season as a tight end. You have Drake London, who's one of the better young receivers in this game. And then freaking Bijan Robinson, who is proven to be he is a level 1 caliber running back if he wasn't before.
Oh, he is 100%.
I mean, what was it?
Again, I think it's another one of the situations where he's the biggest start Atlanta has.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Bijan Robinson, I'm demanding a trade out of there ASAP and leaving Atlanta. I don't know what they would get back in trade value for him, but I think Bijan, and I said this in our Slack chat the other night, can you put Bijan Robinson in New England and see how dangerous they become? Yeah. Like, I think that would be insane if they somehow or better yet, and Zan might not like this as much, but put Bijan in Chicago and see how that plays out.
I don't think I'd be opposed to it. I think the Bears have a solid running back room enough to where he could add some value there with DeAndre Swift.
No, but I'm saying adding Bijan to be the starter because he can catch passes and run.
Right, I was gonna say if you have Bijan Robinson and DeAndre Swift, Zan, Bijan's gonna be the main guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But imagine having DeAndre Swift as a 2 right behind Bijan Robinson. That almost isn't fair in the running back room. But I don't know. Hiring a new CEO, who knows if this is going to work?
And now, are these reports true, guys, that Matt Ryan might be offered president of operations?
That's true.
See, if I'm Matt Ryan, I'd say, run for the hills. Don't take it.
See. And what's funny is we're coming off a weekend where we had those reports that Mike Tomlin, one way or another, could end up in a television role next year. I don't get some of these football guys who get these cushy TV roles and then they want to go back and be a coach or be in the front office or anything like that.
Why do you want the pressure on you when all you have to do is sit in front of the TV and just give an opinion? Like,
And right, be yourself for an hour on television or
They
whatever.
probably don't like the amount of prep work that goes into it.
what prep work? They show up and they sit at a desk.
I mean, there is obviously prep work in TV, but like Nick said, there's no pressure like there is with the pressure of being in the front office.
Because when you're an athlete, networks treat you with like the red carpet treatment when you walk in as a former athlete. Go ask Boomer Esiason how that worked out for many years. I mean, like, what was he? He was doing WFAN mornings. He was doing NFL on CBS
on Sundays. Yeah.
So, like, when you're a former athlete, like, the sky is the limit. Like, if you can, if you're a decent enough, you don't even have to be a perfect broadcaster. As long as you are, well, now as long as you have fiery spit and hot takes, they'll take you as a former athlete for.
I mean, Philip Rivers. I mean, he was coaching high school football in Alabama before he got the offer from the Colts to come back, and now he might get NFL coaching opportunities.
Yeah, that one I don't get. TV, I'd be all for. Like, if he ended up on TV somewhere, I think he'd be great. You know who else would be good for TV? Matthew Stafford. I think he'd be great.
And you know who I think is already starting to dip their toes into the television world? Jameis Winston.
He was on
the Manning cast the
other night. He should just, unless he's getting paid decent money to sit as the backup, I guess. But
maybe we'll see. But I mean, for Jameis, yeah, I would say I think he's smartly getting ready for a post-football career, and I think he would make an excellent commentator.
He's definitely funny. That's for sure. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, in our time doing the show, of course, how can I forget the crab legs incident?
I mean, if there was an Inside the NBA, an NFL version of Inside the NBA, you put Jameis right on that.
Oh yeah.
Zan, do you remember the crab legs incident or no?
Yeah, of course I do.
I think Tom and I laughed about that one for a couple weeks. I think when we were doing.
And then famous Jameis's turnovers, of course. I'm sorry, Jameis.
Yeah, well, yeah, the turnovers, but I don't know. Atlanta's in a load of hurt. I don't like Penix is not working out. He's hurt. You like that is not working out either with Kirk Cousins.
No,
well, I was gonna say, talk about another team, all the talent around them, but you know what Atlanta needs?
A quarterback.
Well, let me put it this way: a backup quarterback, because the question is going to be how Penix recovers from his current injury.
By the way, would you say Kirk Cousins has made the most guaranteed money for playing the least amount of games?
Probably.
Of late, yeah.
How many $100 million contracts does this guy keep getting? Like, I've never seen it. It's absurd the amount of money he gets in guaranteed contracts. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, now let's move a little bit into the Todd McShay world of stuff. So I was on social media prepping for the show, and I see Todd McShay, who was at he was at ESPN for many years. He was part of the layoffs when Tom and I actually covered the layoffs before we had a media show here. And he now does the McShay show over, I think, at the Ringer, Spotify now. And I have the video, and we're going to take a look at it because it's absurd. This situation. So here's the video of McShay, and he talks about how no one wants to be drafted by the New York Jets in every way, shape, or form. So take a listen, and I'll kind of interlude in the middle of it.
If you're representing Dante Moore, for as with the Raiders, you know you have an organization steep in history, with an owner whose father steep in the like entrenched in the great history of the NFL, trying to do the right thing, misguided at times. Brings in Tom Brady, who can be a source of like helping, although this first go round was not pretty. But how much did Tom I feel like next year with a new coaching staff, as we all presume, Pete Carroll will be out and there will be a new staff. Would you or would you not, as the representation or the representative, the rep for Dante Moore, kind of reach out to the Raiders and say, hey, my client's trying to make a decision. We can live with going to 30 of the 32 teams. Maybe it's 31. I can't allow him to go the New York Jets. And I realize in 2027, maybe he's the 7th pick or the 5th pick, or maybe he's the first overall pick and the Jets have all that ammo and they can get him there. But I can't allow him to he's got an opportunity to go back to Oregon, probably make the same amount of money that he's going to make in his rookie contract. Phil Knight will make that happen. So I can allow my client to go back to Oregon and have another season with a new offensive coordinator because Will Stein's going to Kentucky, or you can pretty much promise me that he's going to be the number 1 overall pick.
I mean, are you kidding me?
I think, first of all, here's what I say he is right on. He is right on with what we talked about with the Raiders, that they're going to go after Mendoza and they're going to have a whole different look because of what we just talked about during the Black Monday segment, that Brady is going to actually have some say over the team. He is right in that the one thing I could see some of these guys actually staying in college is all the NIL money that they're going to be getting. So I want to know, and I don't know this off the top of my head, that I'm not the college head that the guy to the upper left of me is. How much is Moore making in NIL money?
I don't know the number specifically, but I can tell you this. Him going back to Oregon would be very wise, in my opinion.
Because of the NIL?
Well, part number 1, because of the NIL. Number 2, they're currently in the CFP as we're recording this. If they lose to Indiana in the Peach Bowl, which we'll get to in a minute, Dante Moore will have a chance to frame his final college season as a redemption story, and Dan Lanning could give him another year of tutelage, considering that he hasn't been in Oregon's system his entire college career.
So the estimated valuation for Dante Moore is $2 million to around 2.4 as of late 2025. I don't know.
And that's not considering what he could get in his senior season at Oregon.
Probably.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? I have a problem with the fact that he's basically saying, well, nobody wants to be drafted by the Jets. First of all, he doesn't know that.
I mean, do the Jets have a terrible history of drafting? Yes.
Yes.
Are the Jets have a frustrating organization? Yes. But you know what? We just talked about how bad of a situation the Cardinals are in and how it could be a rebuild for them. We just talked about the situation that's going on in Miami. The point of the draft and the con to the being an early draft pick is you're going to go to a team 99.9% of the
that
time
stinks.
To a team that stinks.
I mean, the problem with this, and Zan and I have talked about this many times when it comes about the NIL and all the money. Listening to what Todd McShay said, oh, well, my agent or the agent is going to say, oh, my client doesn't want to be drafted by you guys, so we're just going to go back to the NFL, for a senior season. That was never how the NFL draft was supposed to be, ever. Now we have NIL and we have agents out there determining where their clients can go to be drafted.
Yeah, that's how the game has changed.
But wait a minute. But and I think you know which I'm going to bring up because of a certain quarterback that refused to go to a certain team way back in the draft.
Correct, but the difference is he had the influence from his family's name. This situation, as Zan kind of mentioned, it's nuts to think about, but in the current day, if a player is upset with where they get drafted, they can still elect to go back to college.
But
like
see,
college.
But originally,
also, Moore has leverage right now because he hasn't officially declared yet.
Well, okay. I think once you declare, you can't go backwards, though.
That's my overall point.
Oh,
so I don't think. First of all, I think they need to change the rules on that front, where if you want to talk to NFL teams and you want to get a perspective of where you are in the draft, you have to declare for the draft.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be allowed to talk to teams and say, oh, well, this team wants me, this team doesn't want me. Back in the day when there was no NIL, you went wherever you were drafted because you were desperate to get to the NFL.
Right.
Now,
but I think the point is now with all this NIL money and all the opportunities for student athletes, there isn't as much of a drive to go to a team that stinks when you can make a certain amount of money, a couple $1 million in your season,
and potentially go to a better team the following year.
See, but I just thought it was ridiculous when McShay was like, "Oh, well, the agent wants to know if their client is going to be drafted by a team or not." That's not what the NFL draft is supposed to be. It's not. So now we're letting NIL money dominate the NFL draft positioning?
Oh, yeah, that's how it works now. Oh, yeah.
I just don't understand because the way the draft works, and Tom said it, like the top, 5 teams for the most part are going to be
ones that stink.
So the agents are now just going to say, you know what? Just go back to another year of school, even though some of them most likely don't want to go back to school for another year.
I'm sure the agents and the players, I'm sure they would love if the NFL went to a draft lottery system like the NHL or the NBA has.
It just doesn't make sense.
I know.
And McShay's an idiot because for him to say that 31 out of 32 teams are the ones that matter and one doesn't. Why? Because they're dysfunctional? If you're going to go by every ownership that's dysfunctional, that's half the NFL.
And like we said, the Jets are not the only bad situation at this point.
Hey, McShay, what about the Browns? The Haslam family is one of the most dysfunctional families of ownership.
And as we've already mentioned, they've wasted so many $1 million at this point on Deshaun Watson, and he hasn't played, and he has barely even played for them.
I mean, not to insult, but I think the Giants are not exactly the best functional ownership either. Like,
no, they're not.
There's a lot of teams that are not good ownerships right now, currently. But to pick on the Jets, what are you gaining by picking on the Jets there?
It's the low-hanging fruit.
Man, if I had a nickel for every time I think you said that over the years. Why are they saying that? Oh, because it's a low-hanging fruit. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's exactly what it was. But I don't know. McShay's great at doing the draft stuff when him and Mel Kiper would do it at ESPN. But I think since McShay's left ESPN, he finally realized, I can have a hot take because everyone's about the hot take now. Everyone wants to be Stephen A. Smith on First Take.
And he has no one who can interrupt him going, Todd.
Exactly. So, I don't know. All right. Moving on. And of course, I threw this in here because you and I have always
have to have a weird story. I know.
The weird and the awkward. Let's talk about Sunday Night Football a little bit.
Phenomenal game. Incredible game. I watched from the opening kick to the missed field goal at the end. But this story is before the game. A priest blessing. Dumping
holy water.
Yeah. It's no longer called Heinz. It's always going to be Heinz Field to me.
Oh, it's never going to be Aquasure Stadium ever.
Right. Just like how it's always going to be the Staples Center to me and not the Crypto.com arena.
Yeah, it'll never be crypto to me ever. Or like when Miami was FTX until the Sam Bankman-Fried decided to run an illegal operation.
Yep.
But this was odd. Priest decides to dump holy water and bless the end zone. And that's where the missed kick by Tyler Loop, I think was the name of the rookie kicker, who I feel bad for, by the way, because that's a tough situation to.
All right, now you're gonna get me off because oh my god, the worst part about sports is what we're seeing with Tyler Loop right now. Yes. And I guarantee you,
it's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible to the point where just even reading the comments just makes you so.
And look, I get it. He's an athlete and he is in the public spotlight, but there is a point of dignity. There is a point of conduct that you should have on social media, whether you are a public person or not. And that the comments that are being left are not the way to behave. And it's not even on his profiles on social media.
Well, did you see the ones?
Beyonce.
Well, you're talking about the divorce comments, right?
Oh, but the people want this divorce. Give me a break, man.
I mean, come on, you have to realize people on social media have no life but to comment.
And you know what the worst part is? That I was gonna say, if Luke didn't get this, if the Ravens had won the game, the same would have gone for Boswell.
Oh, that's a good point because he missed the extra point. Yeah,
right. And it's like, come on, man. Come on.
First of all, I think the Ravens were even lucky to be in that situation after starting 0-4 to start the season, or 0-5 even. But I don't know. The game was great. Aaron Rodgers, who's 42 years old, showed some magic all over again. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why. But I mean, the defensive player falling down on that receiver route for the game-winning touchdown. Yeah,
well, I think the Steelers got very lucky that they won the game, because how the hell do you leave Zay Flowers open twice like they did?
And I think they were both 60-yarders, right?
Yep.
60 plus. And then, what ended up costing the game was the illegal motion or illegal procedure on the Ravens offensive line, which cost them the the distance for the field goal, but the positioning, and then that led to that whole situation. But it is kind of a chip shot, though.
But that is also the first time that the rookie is going out there in high leverage situation. You have to remember something. For the longest time, the Ravens had Justin Tucker in their kicker position. This is, Nick, you know what this is? If I can make a baseball comparison, it's a stretch of a baseball comparison, because obviously Justin Tucker isn't and will never be this person in the baseball world. But if I can make a localized comparison, it's like what we talk about with the Yankee situation with a closer, because for the longest time, you and I and all the rest of Yankee fans were blessed with Mariano Rivera.
Oh yeah,
and we struggle to fight we struggle with the closer position from time to time, and we say, we were blessed by Mo, so our expectations are going to be here. Tyler Loop is a rookie kicker, and was it a shot he could have made? Yes. At the same time, you're not going to make every single shot, and he has been clutch for him for the longest time. But we have seen, this is something about the current NFL that can be mind-blowing to the older fans, but we've begun to see stages where kickers are going to go through hot periods and times where they're going to miss a kick. I don't know if there are any perfect kickers at this point other than frickin' Cam Little, who continues to just kick from insane distances.
Did you see before the game, he kicked one from 73?
Yep. And then he kicks the 68-yarder.
Well, the one last thing I'll say on this topic, since we're on kickers and the pressure of it, Zan, which kicker was it in Chicago that
double doink?
Cody Parkey.
Was he the one that received the death threats?
Oh yeah. It was horrible. Oh yeah.
After what was that, against Minnesota, right?
No, Eagles in the wild card round in 18.
But I thought there was one. I thought there was a kicker of Chicago against Minnesota. There was a situation like that too.
I'm trying to remember, because the Bears for the longest time had Robbie Gould.
That's who I'm thinking of. I thought he got threats too, because he missed one against Minnesota. But you're saying Parkey was the one that got the death threats?
Yeah, Cody Parkey. I don't remember Gold, but I remember Cody Parkey for sure.
That was terrible. That was you would think these teams would call the police.
And you know what the sad part is? I guarantee you not all of them are fans. I guarantee you most of them are bettors.
Oh, of course.
And the same can be said.
Unfortunately, but that's the truth.
Speaking of field goal kickers, the same can be said for the Ohio State kicker, Jaden Fielding.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think that's an even worse situation, because that's college. That's a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can only bet. Well, what is the rules in college sports? You can only bet the actual spreads. You can't really bet props.
I understand what you mean. Props. You're right. I understand what you mean, but still, I think in terms of that's a kid there. You really, that's another level.
I mean, that was the same stupidity Zan and I discussed when when the whole NBA thing, what scandal happened, and then they tried to pass that college basketball players could bet on games, and they're like, "Oops, maybe we shouldn't do that." But all right, let's move on. Any surprises of the NFL draft order?
Not really.
Not really from my standpoint. I mean, luckily my team is good enough to where
Right. Your team, and even your secondary team, they're in the playoffs, so they don't have their position yet. Here's what I'm going to say, so that way I don't say it on Football Forecast, so Johnny doesn't get. I mean, we have less games to talk about now, so. But look, as much as I should be frustrated, and there is part of me that is still frustrated, but I think that part of me is just frustrated of how long a rebuild it's taken for the Giants. But let's be real. When it was week 6 and we got that big win over the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football, and we had a healthy Cam Scatterboo, a healthy Jackson Dart, and a healthy Malik Neighbors, were we saying that the Giants were worse than the Raiders? No. Were we saying the Giants were worse than...
We're keeping a buck right now, we ass.
No. Like, the reason the teams at the bottom are there, like the Titans, like the Raiders, like the Cardinals, is they are ass. And to be real with you, at the way that Jackson Dart has played, you have to continue to develop him and work with him. I keep seeing these takes of, oh, the Giants got the first pick, they'd have to get rid of Dart. No, I'm sorry.
You're not getting rid of Dart.
No, you have put your commitment to where it is. And I'll say it, I said it before, and I'll say it again. I think I even said it before the last Football Forecast. All those excuses we were making in 22 and 23 about Danny and how he didn't have receivers. When Jackson Dart does not have a healthy team around him, he can't show the level of potential that he has. If you gave Danny those chances, you have to give one to Dart.
But what about the dysfunction?
And it doesn't seem like, from what I understand, that Dart even wants to leave to begin with.
No. So, and here's the thing, and this is going to go back to what I was saying when we were talking about the teams firing their coaches and all of this. We know what some of these teams are going to do. We know the Raiders are going to look quarterback. We know the Jets are going to look quarterback. We know the Cardinals are going to look quarterback. The Giants don't need to look at quarterback. The only team you have to worry about in that top 5 that might take the person ahead of you are the Titans, because they're not getting rid of Cam Ward for the same argument.
No.
Which means it all depends on what the Giants want to do. Do the Giants want to pick up? Because if the Giants want to use a pick on a receiver or on a defensive person or an offensive lineman, then picking number 5 is not bad, considering you got at least 3 teams up there, 2 or 3 teams up there who are going to be fighting to get the young quarterbacks that are coming out of this class.
By the way, I can't believe that they kept Joe Shane as the GM, though.
I think some of that has to do with the fact that John Mara's not well.
Well, yeah, and they gave him the game ball after the win the other day, which made no sense.
He looked rough. Oh man.
But
I know I've said some bad things about Mara, but oh my god, I feel terrible watching the way that he looked. He definitely.
Go ahead.
No, I like. He definitely looks like he's been going through it with the cancer battle.
Oh yeah, for sure. By the way, did you see the whole thing with Theo Johnson too?
He's non-contagious.
Oh no, I feel like that reminds me, if I still have it here.
Oh no.
Oh no, did I get rid of it? I might have gotten rid of it. I had the thing for Aaron Rodgers during COVID.
Oh, which one? I've been immunized.
Yeah, that one.
We don't have that. Or when he stuck up his toe to the camera.
Yeah, but I don't know. The draft doesn't really surprise me that much.
Right.
I mean,
no, and I think my point was, I know the Giants fans are upset. I know you mentioned it before with their record in week 17, 18, but stop it. Stop it. Because 3 of those teams, in my mind, that have now jumped you in the order, you don't have to worry about, because You're not taking a quarterback to replace Jackson Dart.
Could
You
have
have your
traded it,
own
though.
issues. Well, I think since they're at number 5, I think you can still get something. If there is a needy team, you can still get something if you're going to trade it. Are you going to get what you could have gotten with number 1 or number 2? No. And that's where I think the Jets should send some flowers to the Giants. Because if the Jets were the number 3, Nick, look at me. If the Jets were number 3, you don't think the Dolphins would have given up stuff to the Giants to jump the Jets?
I mean, that's fair, but I don't know anymore. Like, the Jets, I just hope they don't end up. I hope they don't stupidly like draft Padvia. Like if Mendoza's gone, depending on like if
Is
Dante
Padvia
Moore.
going to do the draft?
I think so. His value is going to drop. I think if he goes back to school, I think because I don't think he's going to have a better year than he did this year. But we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Where do we want to go next here? Zan, where do you want to go? You want to do the wild?
We really only have 2 more topics. It's our way too early Super Bowl pick, and then our brief thoughts on the playoffs, and that's it. I tried to make it as succinct as I could. Thought I would throw some subtopics in where if we got to them, great. If we didn't, we didn't. So wherever you think.
All right, let's go with the Super Bowl picks before the playoffs.
And I think honestly, I'm going to talk to you and Johnny about that. I think we need this kind of segment this Friday because a lot of us picked teams like the Chiefs and Lions, and well, yeah, they're not in the playoffs this year.
A lot of teams are the Chiefs, the Ravens. Who else is not in? Off the top of my head.
Dolphins, the Lions.
Well, the Chiefs, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and then the Lions, which no one expected.
Giants, the Commanders.
Mm-hmm. All right. Super Bowl picks.
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the Patriots against the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl 53 rematch.
And I think the Rams just do enough to edge it out, and Matt Stafford rides off into the sunset.
Okay.
That makes McVay look even better considering
and Tom, you can correct me because you're more of an expert on this than me. Would this play out my dream scenario of a Rams 49ers NFC championship game in Santa Clara, or am I wrong in saying that?
It's possible. Rams 49. It's possible, but but basically Seattle would have to get knocked out and the Bears would have to get knocked out in the divisional.
Okay, well, yeah, that's my Super Bowl pick. Rams over New England, given the teams that made it.
Okay. Nick, you want to go or should I go?
You go.
Okay. This one's going to shock. Zan, I agree with you that the Rams are going to be the NFC representative.
Okay.
I think they're able to get revenge on the Seahawks in the NFC title game.
Okay. Which, by the way, that'll probably end up being my same NFC championship, or it could end up being San Francisco. So one of those 2 matchups could potentially happen. So,
AFC, I have a little bit of a hot take.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of tough competition out there. Bo Nix and the Broncos, who have the 1 seed. The Patriots being one of the hottest teams in this league throughout this season. And yet, I think this is a case of now or never. Like that MGM put out a tweet of before for the Bills. You have no Mahomes. You have no Lamar. You have no Burrow. And Josh Allen has one thing over the likes of Drake May and Bo Nix and company. You know what that is? Playoff experience. He has proven to be a clutch quarterback. He's just been the second fiddle when it comes to Patrick Mahomes.
I think you could be right, because quite honestly, if they beat Jacksonville, that erases the stigma that they can't win a wild card game on the road, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then once that happens, all bets are off. And if you can catch Denver on Denver's worst day, it's certainly a possibility. And then potentially you get a trilogy against the Patriots for a shot to maybe go to the Super Bowl. Honestly, the stars could really align if you really think about it.
Well, I think in terms of an AFC championship,
I personally think whoever wins the Pittsburgh-Houston game is going to get eliminated in the divisional round. So
I wouldn't count out Houston.
Yeah,
and I know
wouldn't
Johnny
either.
and I know Johnny just got very happy hearing me say that. I think there's a chance Houston goes to the conference title game to face the Bills.
Oh yeah, it's definitely possible.
That defense is killer.
I mean, all right. This is how I see it.
By the way, if I have to pick,
Yeah.
I meant it when I said it. Now or never. Buffalo.
Buffalo over
If Buffalo does not win the Super
Bowl.
What?
Over
Buffalo
who?
Over who from the NFC?
I said the Rams before.
Oh, the Rams. That's right.
Okay.
But my point is, if Buffalo does not make the Super Bowl this year, they will never make the Super Bowl.
It's actually not a bad take.
No,
actually,
it's not. He is, and you're right. This is the first year where a lot of the major players aren't a part of it.
That's why I'm saying this is Josh Allen's best chance.
all right. I gave this some thought as you two were talking.
Okay.
All right.
I have Seahawks Bills the Super Bowl.
That's a good one. That's a good choice too.
I think Sam Darnold is finally showing that he can be the guy. I think last year with what was it, Minnesota last year?
Yep.
By the way, he made history of back-to-back 14-win seasons with two separate teams. By the way, I think him and Brady, because Brady did it with New England and then his first year in Tampa, I think won back-to-back 14-win seasons. Seattle, I think, is just tough. In Jigba being the best wide receiver. I think him and Nakua are the two best wide receivers in the NFL right now. I think JSN is going to go off in the playoffs. I don't think teams are going to be able to hold him. I have to say this, though. I think Panthers-Rams is the most ridiculous matchup in the playoffs coming up.
I mean, that's the way it just played out. But the way the
NFC South is just what SVP said it the other night. By rule, someone has to win the division.
Exactly.
That really should not be a home game for the Panthers at all. It should not be.
No, it shouldn't.
Well, would you guys be opposed to the idea that's being floated out there that division winners automatically make it win, but everybody is seeded based on their record?
I think you have to do a reseed once everyone clinches spots. And I think you have to look at the record and say, well, we saw this before. Didn't we see a 10-win team years ago miss the playoffs?
Nick, and this was actually something I mentioned, my hot take of, like, I thought a 10-win team would miss the playoffs this year. There was a 10-win team who missed the playoffs last year. Seattle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right. But we've seen that many times where a team that wins 9 games, and I think we're going to see it again this year. There was a 9-8 team that missed the playoffs also, I think. But
the Vikings and Lions.
Yeah, and that's not fair either, because look at the Panthers and look at the Falcons and all 8 and 9 teams, and they had a chance to make it. I mean, but yeah, so I have Bills, Seahawks. That's gonna be a tough game in Santa Clara if the way that goes. I don't know. I think the Bills are not they're good. Josh Allen has the most playoff experience probably left in all of both sides. I just don't see anybody beating Seattle this year at all. I think Sam Darnold's going to come through. I think he's got experience. I think we're going to see Seattle hoist the Super Bowl trophy this year.
I can see that. Hey, wasn't there a stat that every year that a new pope was installed, that Seattle's gone to the Super Bowl?
Yep. All right. Quickly, let's just get to the CFPs. Fiesta Bowl, Miami minus 3.5 point favorite versus Ole Miss, 51.5 over under. Momentum of Ole Miss. That's where I'm leaning.
I agree.
That's where I'm leaning too. I think Trinidad Chambliss outplays Carson Beck. I think it's a shootout. And I not only do I think Ole Miss coverage, but I think the game goes to overtime and Ole Miss wins by 3.
Ole Miss plus 3.5, and I say full on upset city, outright.
By the way, LSU paying off all of Lane Kiffin's bonuses every time they win. Also, hey, that's the best deal in the biz. By the way, hey, just LSU take on my bonuses, and if Ole Miss wins, you have to pay me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Ole Miss has a chance to run table the way they're playing. right now, currently, especially with no more Ohio State in there anymore. All right, the Peach Bowl, or as they like to say, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Um,
Indiana versus Oregon.
I think the way Indiana played against Alabama, they are showing why they were the number 1 seed. They are showing why they are the best team in college football. As we say on Football Forecast, take the money.
Yeah, I like Indiana too. I think Kurt Yenny deserves to be Coach of the Year, the way his team has been.
He already is for a few different national outlets, so it's already been rolled out. Yeah.
So I think, and I think I read last week that there was a contract clause that was triggered within his contract.
Yes.
That basically said because basically he's coached the team so well that he has the right to technically renegotiate the contract he signed.
Something like that.
I don't know if he'll do that, but
that's insane. He just signed a huge deal, didn't he?
Yeah, it's an 8-year deal.
Yeah, I don't. Unless he can somehow sneak a few extra bucks out of Indiana, but I think Oregon's going to get thrashed. I think by Indiana. I think.
I don't think it's going to be a thrashing, but I think it'll be very similar to the first game where Indiana's going to find a sweet spot in the second half, and they're going to get burned on a long touchdown to Elijah Surratt or something, meaning Oregon will, and they'll win comfortably. They won by 10 the last time he played. I think they could win by 10 or a little bit more. Give me Indiana to cover and to go to the national championship and play Ole Miss, and which should be a pretty good game.
So I guess we all agree on an Indiana Ole Miss Natty game.
That's going to be a heck of a game if it somehow goes. We're going to have to try and get some live stream like right before that game, like to kind of preview it if we can. That's going to be great. And of course, Lane Kiffin might not be there when they actually win the title. So that's pretty much it. Anything else left to say before we say goodbye to episode 300?
I don't think
with you guys.
And thanks for having me be a part of it too, as I guess the old guard and the new guard together in one room. I thought it was really fun, and looking forward to hopefully doing more of these, hopefully these threesomes in the future. But for now, it's nice to see that we've entered into the 300 plus number now. And Tom, I heard your compliment. You're more than welcome. We were more than happy to have you on. So
thank you guys.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to kind of get that all rectified and back together and figured out, because it wasn't the same without it. But yeah, make sure you follow us on social media at ETB Sports, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at ETB Sports. Follow the Empty the Bench Network at ETB Network, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. As we get closer to 1,100 subscribers, our goal to 4,000 watch hours is getting closer. So please continue to watch, whether that's our produced shows, whether that's our live stream shows. Sorry, playback, but unfortunately you went away, so we had to do it on our own.
Yeah, that was sad at the end of 2025, losing them.
Yeah, we talked about that on Press Row, but it is what it is. I think the views are doing better. Zan, I think you agree too that the views are just doing way better in a live stream format through StreamYard, and we can control the amount of platforms we're on. But yeah, check us out on there, on our live streams across all our live platforms. And if you can't watch whatever we're doing for the podcast, listen to this podcast or any ETB Network podcast, wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Acast, I don't know, whatever platforms don't exist yet. Maybe outside of this planet. I don't know. That's a joke I used to make all the time, that I feel like when they say you literally heard around the world, I thought it literally meant around the planet. But can you imagine if podcasts could be listened to outside of planet Earth?
It'd be kind of weird. It'd be kind of really weird.
All right, ETB Sports is #1 on Jupiter.
Nick, you know what Tony Kornheiser would do.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
That's why I didn't say
it. You were setting it up,
and I think that's a perfect way to end episode 300. What do you guys say?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's time to call it a day. But for episode 300 and hopefully 300 more of these, geez, I can't believe I'm saying episode 300 of this. How long ago did this show start?
You guys would know. I don't know.
Well, we started in this show August of 2019. Nick, we're in our 10th year of podcasting overall, though.
Oh God, I feel old. And
Yeah.
I'm not even that old. Ugh. But how old am I now? I'm 32. I'll be 33 in less than a month.
What's your age again?
32.
Blink 182 reference.
Oh, yes. Until then, until episode 301 next week, that's Tom Albano, that's Zain Bando, I'm Nick Morgasen. Until then, hopefully you get to do 300 episodes like we do, and we'll see you again next week. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.